Hello guys, welcome back to another Android Studio tutorial. In this video, we are going to learn about how a fragment communicate with the parent activity. So I will show you the concept with an example. So we can start with a new Android Studio project. So we can create a new Android Studio project. Specify your application name. Here I name it as Fragment example. Select empty activity. So now here the project is created. So first we can create a new fragment. So right click the application and select fragment. Select a blank fragment. Specify the fragment name. Here I name it as message fragment. Now here the fragment is created. Here is the layout of the new fragment. So here the root element is a frame layout. For reasons, I'm going to modify that one into a constrained layout. No need of this text view. Delete that one. Okay, now we need to add some user interface components to this layout. So go to the design view. Modify this one into blueprint. First here I am going to modify the default margin into 16 dp. Now here I am going to add an edit text. So select plain text, drag it into this layout. Specify the constraint for the edit text. A margin at the top, margin at the left. Okay, so now I'm going to add some button. So select widgets, drag a button into this layout. Now specify the constraints for the button. Margin at the left, margin at the top. Now specify constraint for the baseline text. Okay, now select the edit text. Now here it is wrap content. Change that one into match constraint. Create a constraint here also. Okay, so now select the constrained layout. Change layout height into wrap content. Okay, now here I need some constraint at the bottom also. So create a constraint at the bottom side. Okay, this is the layout for the fragment. Now we can view the design. Select the design view. Now first select the edit text. Change the ID of edit text. I change that one into txt message. Now we can modify the text. Delete the text. Now specify some hint for it. Enter a message. Now we need to modify some parameters of the button. So select the button. Here the ID of the button, I change that one into bn. Now we can modify the text on the button. I simply change that one into sent. So this is the layout for the fragment. Okay, so now we are going to add this fragment to the main activity. So open project, open the layout for the main activity, open layout file for main activity, open preview. So here the root is a constrained layout. So for easiness, I'm going to modify that one into a relative layout. Here there is a text view is available. Remove that one. Sorry, I need a linear layout. Now specify the orientation for this layout. I need vertical orientation. So at the bottom we need to add the fragment. So we have to place a container for the fragment. So here I'm going to place a container for the fragment. So here the container is a frame layout. Specify the width into match parent. I specify height as 0 dp. Now specify the weight for the layout into 1. So this layout contain no item. Okay. So now we need to specify an ID for this fragment container. Name it as fragment container. Now here I'm going to add one more frame layout. Copy the frame layout. Change the ID of the frame. I simply name it as activity frame. Change the weight into 2. So now we have 2 frame layout in this layout. So now inside the frame layout, here I'm going to place some relative layout. Width is match parent, height is also match parent. Okay, so now inside the relative layout, here I'm going to place a text view. Width into match parent, height is wrap content. Now specify some text on it. Message appear here. Now specify some gravity for the message. Specify the gravity into center. Now modify the text size. Text size into 20 dp. Now modify the text style. Text style into bold. Now specify ID for this text view. ID txt display message. Okay, so now we can align the text view at the center of the parent. So employee center in parent into true. Okay, so here in this layout we have 2 frame layout. The first frame layout is the container for the fragment, and the second frame layout contain a text view. So now we are going to add the fragment to the main activity. So now we can close all these files. Now open main activity. So from the main activity, here I'm going to add the fragment to the main activity. So check the condition if find the view by id or dot id dot fragment container is not equal to null. In that case we can proceed, and here check some condition if the activity is resumed state or not. If saved instance state not equal to null, in that case simply return. Otherwise we can add the fragment. So create an object of the fragment, message fragment, new message fragment. So now we can add the fragment. So create an object of fragment transaction, Always select fragment transaction from the support library. Get support fragment manager, begin transaction. Now add the fragment. Specify the container ID of the fragment. It is fragment container. Now the second parameter is the fragment object. Here it is message fragment, and final one is a tag. We can simply pass null for it. Okay, now the fragment transaction is ready. Now we can commit the transaction. So fragment transaction dot commit. Okay, now we successfully add the fragment to the main activity. So now we can test it. So here we have a virtual device is ready. We can test our application now. Okay, now here the application available on this virtual device. So if the user types some message here, and if the user click the send button, we have to display the message on this text view. So here this area, this form is on a fragment, and this text view on the activity. So if you want to display the message on this text view, we have to establish a communication between the fragment and the activity. So that is our topic. So now here I will show you how to establish the communication. So it is not possible for two fragments to communicate each other. So we can establish communication between fragments through interfaces. So you have to specify some interfaces on the fragments, and you have to implement that interface on the parent activity, and you must implement the methods on the parent activity, and through that methods the fragment can communicate with the activities and other fragments. Okay, and now I will show you how to establish the communication. So open the fragment, open layout for the fragment. Okay, so first here I'm going to create some variables. We need some edit text. We need some button. So for initializing these two variables, here instead of returning directly, here create some view object. Now we can return that view from here. So before returning that view, we can initialize our two variables. First one is the edit text. Now find it. This one txt message. Now we can initialize the button. Find the view by id or dot id. Here it is br. So now create some click listeners for the button. So b and dot. Sorry, here it is button dot set on click listener. Okay, so for established communication here, you need to specify some interfaces. So here I create an interface, public interface on message read listener. This is my interface, and in that interface I am going to create some method, public void on message read, and for this method we need one parameter. It's a string value, is a message. Okay, so this is our interface. So first thing, we have to check whether the interface is implemented by the parent activity. So you can achieve that from the onAttach method of this fragment. So here I'm going to override one more lifecycle method of fragment, onAttach. So here the parameter is a context. So first we need to get the activity instance, so you can get it from the context. So simply typecast that one into activity. So here create a callback for the interface. So here it is on message read listener. I name it as message read listener. Now from this method, from the onAttach method, we can get the callback for the interface. So message read listener is equal to activity. So now typecast that one into on message read listener. So here we can check it whether the activity implemented it or not. So put it on a try catch block. Now here specify the catch. Here the exception is class cast exception. And from here throw the exception, throw new class cast exception, activity dot to string must override on message read. Okay, so now we need to implement this interface on main activity. So open main activity. So the main activity implements on message read listener. So here we have to implement that method. So here the method is on message read, and here is the method with one parameter, is a message. So now the fragment communicate with the activity through this method. Now go to the fragment. So when user enter a message and click the send button, we have to call that method by using the callback interface. Here it is a message read listener. Before going to call that method, we have to get the message, edit text, get to text to string. Now we can send the message to the activity. So message read listener dot on message read and pass the message to the activity. So the activity get the message on this method. So here we have to create some variables for text view. And initialize that variable here, text view. Find view by ID. Here it is txt display message. Okay, now we can display the message using this text view. Here the parameter is message. Okay, and that's it. Now we can test our application again. Run it again. Type a simple message here, hello Prabish, and send it. And now the message appear on the activity. So this is how we establish a communication between fragment and activity. So in the next episode, I will show you how to establish communication between two fragments. I hope you understand this concept. For getting more Android tutorial updates, please subscribe this channel now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.